Africa is not the story they told us, it's the story we forgot to tell ourselves. Masterminds presents Untold Africa, where we rediscover the brilliance buried beneath the sands of time. Did you know that over 2,000 years ago, there were African queens who ruled entire empires, led armies into battle, and defeated the Romans? They were called Kandaki, queens of the Kingdom of Kush, and history remembers them as the Warrior Queens of Nubia. The Kingdom of Kush lay just south of ancient Egypt, in what is now Sudan, a land rich in iron, gold, and courage. For centuries, Egypt and Kush shared bloodlines, gods, and rivalry. But while Egypt eventually fell under Roman rule, Kush remained independent, protected by walls of stone and women of iron. The rulers of Kush were not just kings, they were queens. Kandaki, a royal title meaning mother of the king, though in truth they were the king. These weren't figureheads sitting in palace chambers. They were strategists, generals, and leaders whose crowns were earned on the battlefield. The most famous of them all was Amanirenas, a name whispered with awe even by her enemies. When the Romans conquered Egypt around 30 BCE, they looked south and thought Nubia would be next. They were wrong. Amanirenas, described by Roman historians as a fierce one-eyed queen, refused to bow. She gathered her warriors, archers, cavalry, and foot soldiers and launched a surprise attack northward. They stormed Roman outposts, seized territory, and brought home their bronze head of Emperor Augustus, the most powerful man in the world, as a trophy. She buried that head beneath the steps of a temple so her people would walk over the emperor each day. That's how much she understood symbolism. For 3 long years, Amanirenas and her army fought Rome to a standstill. They burned forts, defended their borders, and forced the Romans to negotiate peace, an honor no other African or Middle Eastern kingdom achieved at that time. When the treaty was signed, no tribute was demanded. Rome withdrew, and Kush remained free. Her victory echoed across Africa, proof that no empire was too great to resist. But Amanirenas wasn't alone. After her came other queens, Amanishaketo, Amanitori, Shanadakete, each ruling in her own right, building temples, expanding trade, commissioning art, and defending their sovereignty. In their reigns, Kush became a cultural powerhouse. They built pyramids at Meroe, smaller than Egypt, but more numerous, more personal, each one a monument to royalty reborn. They advanced ironworking, astronomy, and architecture, and ruled through a matriarchal system that placed power in both womb and mind. Greek and Roman writers called them the Candaces of Ethiopia, a word that later became Candace but originally meant Kandaki. These queens didn't inherit power from men, they embodied it, yet their story was almost erased. Colonial scholars once dismissed them as legends. Their statues were broken, their temples left to the desert, but the sand doesn't forget. Inscriptions and carvings at Meroe and Naka still show these women holding swords, bows, and royal staffs, leading armies, presiding over ceremonies, and standing beside gods as equals. When archaeologists uncovered their tombs, they found gold jewelry, weapons, and royal seals, not symbols of wives or mothers, but of rulers. The Kandaki remind us that African womanhood was never weak. It was leadership, strategy, and fire. Long before the world debated gender equality, African queens were commanding nations, signing treaties, and rewriting history with every strike of their spear. They were the heartbeat of Nubia, and the strength still runs through us today. So when you think of queens, don't just picture crowns and jewels. Picture warriors in armor, standing tall against empires. Remember the name Kandaki, the title that meant she who reigns. This is Untold Africa, and remember, you come from greatness.